How do I balance personal growth versus action? What is personal growth if not action? Honestly, I don't understand the question. The whole point of personal growth is to gain management over ourselves, to be able to control our actions, to do more good ones and fewer bad ones. So what is personal growth and what is action? I'll explain to you what I'm saying in different words, so that at least I'll acknowledge that I'm understanding your question. In the old Chabad tradition, there is a phenomenon, there is a fact, that Chassidim would say, even to the Rebbe, even when getting a direct order from the Rebbe, ich halt nicht bei dem. This that the Rebbe is telling me to do, I'm not ready to do, I'm not prepared to do. And the Rebbeim would take it. The Rebbeim would back off when a Chassid says to the Rebbe says to the Chassid, I want you to do this, either for yourself personally in Avodah or for other people, and the Chassid would say, ich halt nicht bei dem. In many instances, that was an acceptable way of not following orders, because Chassidim were Pnimim, they were real people, and they worked on themselves regularly on a daily basis, on their character, on their connection to God, and in their earnestness, it may have been true, or they may have felt that the Rebbe is pushing them either too hard or in a direction where they're not ready to go, or something to this effect. In our generation, the Rebbe really was not tolerant of that. He really wasn't. You were given an order, you had to listen. You could listen, you could not listen. The Rebbe used to always say, I have no power, I can't force anybody to do anything, I can only suggest. And people do what they do, but it's by their own choice, by their own volition, by their own free will. But the Rebbe did not accept that a chassid would say to him, the Rebbe is telling me to do this, and I'm backing away from doing it on spiritual grounds, on religious grounds, on avodah grounds. The Rebbe didn't tolerate it at all. I heard a story about a Yid who got up in 770. This man got up in 770 and he told the following story, that the Frierdiker Rebbe summoned him, or he was in the Rebbe's room, and the Rebbe asked him to do a certain shlichus, told him to do something, and he said to the Frierdiker Rebbe, was soll ich haben von dem? How is it going to benefit me? Now that sounds so disrespectful and so displaced, but you have to understand the old culture. In the old Chabad, everything was about pnimius, about personal growth. So even when you did something to help another Jew, it had to somehow benefit you. So he asked the previous Rebbe this question straight up, and the Rebbe didn't answer him. He just looked at him with those eyes that could burn a hole through diamond, through stone. So this person told the story in 770 and then said like this, I told this to the Rebbe, the previous Rebbe, who didn't even acknowledge my question with an answer. He says, this Rebbe, I wouldn't even think, it wouldn't cross my mind to ask such a question. Because the Rebbe has conditioned us that you have to do what you're told, siyus. And there's a lot of reasons why. Of course, the most important reason is because there's a magefa, there's a plague, there's a fire burning every day. Literally, we're losing Jews for eternity. Them, their children and grandchildren are saved kala datus. And as the Rebbe says, when a fire burns, you don't look if the water you throw on the fire is clean or dirty, just make sure it isn't kerosene. But on a deeper level, there's a much simpler reason. Do we really work on ourselves? Are we consistent? Are we pnimiyim? Are we earnest enough that if you take away from us the responsibilities of our lives, you take away from us the shlichus, the obligations that we have in helping other people, would we work on ourselves in a pnimiyistic way, just like Chassidim did in the previous generations, because of the principle of it? I think for most of us the answer to that question is no. So the reality is that working on ourselves has to begin with action. In other words, I get it. There's a person who says, I want to first work on my character, I want to work on how my spiritual self, my psychological self, and then I'll start doing good things from a place of health. Will you ever become healthy? Spiritually and psychologically? The Rebbe's opinion is, you want to become healthy spiritually, psychologically? Do. Let the action be the basis for the growth. in a different time, in a different place, and in a different person. There may have been a different philosophy, but this is the philosophy of now. And I understand that this is not only because the Rebbe needs us to do work for him, but because this is the best for us. So when a person asks the question, how do I balance personal growth versus action? The answer is personal growth is action. And it's good to do as many good deeds as we possibly could. Because if we do fewer good deeds, we don't grow more. We just do fewer good deeds. Now, I don't think a person has to drive himself mad. The person has to drive himself to the brink of insanity. But it's true that the harder we work, the better we feel, and the better we are. So we live in a generation of action for various reasons. And personally, we live in a world of action because it's action that changes us. Like the classic quote in the Sefer HaChinuch, when he talks about Tzipi Yetzias Mitzrayim, Acharei ha'pa'ulas nimshachim halavaves. If you want your heart to change direction, change your behavior. For your heart to change your behavior is far less likely than for your behavior to change your actions. And this is the philosophy. You do good. You do good, and hopefully the heart will follow and the growth will happen. But it has to be, you can't get stuck and trying to figure yourself out emotionally. You got to live your life, you have to do what you need to do, and then the emotions get resolved by themselves. I've told this before, and there's so many different examples for this, that Rabbi Zalman Duchman, Olav Shalom, who was a wonderful chassid. I never met him, I don't remember him. I was 4 or 5 when he passed away. But I read his book, and I met him in his book, and I like what I read. I like his book. In the back of the new edition of his Sefer, which is called L'Shem Eizim, which his children published, there are correspondence between him and the Rebbe about the book and about other things. And one of them is that he wrote to the Rebbe in 1950, the intermediate year between the Hestalkus of the Friedrich Rebbe and the official ascendance of the Rebbe to the throne of Chabad. He wrote to the Rebbe that he's an old man, he survived Hitler, he survived Stalin, and he's asking the Rebbe Bakasha Bracha that he shouldn't fall spiritually, he should remain a Chassidish Yid till he dies. And the Rebbe writes back to him, is then does the Wunsch von a Chassid, since then is the wish of a Chassid that I shouldn't stumble. V'cholu. You have to do so much good that there's no time to stumble. This is a philosophy. You know, when people complain to the Rebbe that they're working too hard, what do the Rebbe say? Work harder, so you shouldn't have time to complain. And it's not just being cute or being over the top, it's real. Growth from hard work never broke anybody. And the Rebbe believes that our spiritual selves are enhanced through the work that we do in all areas, but we have to do action, work. The Mittler Rebbe has a sefer called Pekeh Chivrim, which he wrote for a Baal Tshuva. It's a small little book written originally in Yiddish. It's been translated into Hebrew. I don't know if it's been translated into English. I believe it has, but I'm not sure. And it's a pretty stern instruction manual to a Baal Tshuva. And the thread that weaves its way through the entire pamphlet, he talks about davening and learning and parnasa. He talks about life, how the Baal Tshuva sustains his tshuva existence. And the Rebbe's basic message is, be busy. Don't have time to stop. Just as soon as you wake up, jump out of bed. Don't hesitate. Push yourself. Push yourself. In other words, the Baal Tshuva's got to stay away from falling back into where he was. And the Rebbe doesn't say analyze it and expunge it from your personality. The Rebbe says go, go, go. Just do. This is the spirit of the Sefer Kechim, and I believe that this philosophy the Rebbe applied to all of us as a generation. And perhaps you could say the reason is because we are absolutely the Tshuva generation. Not only those of us who were born not from, but those of us who were born in Chabad, Sheva Chabad, we are a Tshuva generation. And the solution to our limitations and our weaknesses and our frailty and our ability to fall spiritually is to be very busy. I know it in my own life. If I have more time, I just waste more time. And if I'm busier, I do more. And as many times as I tell myself, it would be nice if I had a little time to relax. Then when the relaxation time comes and I waste it, I say, Achei. So when the answer to the question is, how do I balance personal growth and action? The answer is they're synonyms. They're the same thing. If you want to grow personally, if you want to become kinder, you want to become more poised, you want to become more deliberate, you want to become less impulsive, you want to become less reactionary, the good deeds, focusing on action. And the actions could be around correcting those behaviors, but they need to be actions. We will heal, we will grow, we will remedy these challenges that we have in our personality.